Hello everyone, welcome to the Montana Farm Bureau Field Notes podcast. My name is Haley Drugsma. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the digital communications lead here at the Montana Farm Bureau Federation. I'd like to kick today's podcast episode off with a reminder that if you have anything you'd like to learn about, a pertinent news story, or someone you'd want to see us bring on the podcast, whether that's yourself or someone you know, please shoot me an email at haleyd@mfbf.org. That's HALEYD@mfbf.org. My goal is always to bring you interesting, exciting content about agriculture, and I'd love your recommendations. Now let's get into today's episode. Now let's jump right into Montana agriculture news. Montana Congressmen Ryan Zinke and Troy Downing are advocating for an America Beef First policy in response to reports that the United States may import beef from Argentina. Representative Downing and several House Republicans sent a letter to President Trump urging him to prioritize American producers, arguing that United States ranchers supply the world's highest quality beef and should not be undercut by foreign inputs produced under lower standards. The lawmakers stressed that any future import policy must hold foreign suppliers to the same rigorous United States standards for food safety and animal health to protect consumer confidence and the American cattle industry. Keeping with some national beef information, the Trump administration has released $3 billion in federal aid previously frozen by the government shutdown for farmers impacted by the trade war in China. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced that the Farm Service Agency offices would reopen, allowing critical services like loan processing and ARC and PLC payments to resume, which many farmers need to make mortgage and rental payments. This move comes as farmers are struggling with China's decision to boycott U.S. soybeans and purchase them from Argentina instead, a country the United States recently provided with a $20 million financial lifeline to. President Trump plans to meet with China's Xi Jinping in South Korea to push for a resumption of U.S. soybean trade. Since its founding in 1969, the Montana 4-H Foundation has remained dedicated to their mission of helping 4-H youth by raising private funds, managing financial resources, and partnering with the Montana State University Extension Service to fund educational opportunities for Montana 4-H youth, volunteer leaders, and staff. In support of that mission, the foundation recently launched a new fundraising campaign that they call 40% for 4-H. This time of year, Montana is marked by grain and livestock trucks crisscrossing the roads as farmers and ranchers wean, combine, and harvest their year's work in preparation for sale. This campaign encourages Montana growers to reserve a 40% portion of the proceeds from the sale of one unit they sell, be it a calf, lamb, bull, load of grain, fleece, or load of sugar beets, and donate it to the Montana 4-H Foundation. Artificial intelligence is driving a third wave of innovation in agriculture, moving CNH from precision farming toward full autonomy and robotics to address pressures like climate change and labor shortages. CNH is integrating AI into equipment such as developing a weed detecting sprayer and vision-guided steering systems to make machines smarter, reduce waste, and improve resource efficiency. To overcome the industry challenge of poor rural connectivity, CNH is forming partnerships, including an agreement with Starlink, to ensure farmers can utilize these advantaged technologies globally. The USDA released a plan to fortify the American beef industry and lower consumer costs, focusing on streamlining federal grazing, enforcing stronger Product of the USA labeling rules, and issuing grants for small processors. However, the plan was overshadowed by President Trump's comments about working to import 80,000 metric tons of beef from Argentina at a reduced tariff rate. Major cattle groups, including NCBA and USCA, sharply criticized the import plan, arguing it would have a negligible impact on consumer prices, would undercut domestic ranchers, and poses a threat to United States animal health standards since Argentina is considered free of foot and mouth disease but subject to restrictions due to its trading practices. Overall, the industry's message conveyed by ranchers to cabinet secretaries is that producers do not want subsidies or handouts, but rather a level playing field with a focus on regulatory relief, delisting the wolf, and implementing effective country of origin labeling to restore confidence in the United States cattle market. The second annual Montana Agritourism Conference will be held at Montana State University next month on Thursday and Friday, November 20th and 21st. The event will be hosted by the Montana Agritourism Association, which was established last year through collaboration between MSU's Department of Agricultural and Technology Education, the Montana Department of Agriculture, and Western Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, or Western SARE, for which MSU has served as the host institution since 2018. The first iteration of the event was held in May of 2024, drawing roughly 150 agricultural producers, tourism professionals, educators, and community members to explore the intersection of agricultural production and tourism in Montana. The event was a rousing success, said Shannon Arnold, a professor in the Department of Agricultural and Technology Education, who spearheaded the work establishing the association. This year's conference theme is Opening the Gate, Unlocking Agritourism's Opportunities to Connect, Collaborate, and Innovate. The first day will include farm tours around the Gallatin Valley, along with an evening social, followed by a day of educational seminars, panels, and breakout sessions on Friday, November 21st. The sessions are organized in 3 tracks based on attendees' interests, experience levels, and goals in the agritourism industry. Claire Mernon of Pompey's-Pillar, Montana was selected as one of 13 young leaders for the 2025-26 National FFA Speak Ag Pioneers program. This cohort is tasked with promoting agricultural advocacy and literacy by hosting workshops and creating social media content. As a Speak Ag pioneer, Mernon will attend the National FFA Convention and other events to interact with policymakers and speak up for the future of agriculture on behalf of over 1 million FFA members. Claire is the 2025-26 Montana State FFA president and runs social media accounts titled 365 Days of Agriculture, where she posts daily advocating for agricultural industries and programs like FFA. Now pivoting to some Farm Bureau news. The American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall responded to President Trump's strategy of increasing beef imports from Argentina to reduce consumer prices. Duvall stressed that while American families struggle with high food costs, farmers are facing a severe economic storm themselves. He noted that many U.S. beef farmers have been operating at a loss for years, with adverse weather and low prices leading to cattle herds shrinking to historic lows. Duvall emphasized that any weakening of cattle prices would be devastating for farm country, where commodity prices are already historically low, while expenses remain high. The American Farm Bureau Federation urged the administration to carefully consider the damage that importing more foreign beef would inflict on cattle farmers who are contemplating investing in rebuilding the national herd. Duvall pointed out that the mere mention of increased imports has already created market instability and uncertainty. The organization warned that flooding U.S. cattle markets with foreign beef could ultimately endanger the nation's long-term food independence. The American Farm Bureau concluded by expressing its eagerness to learn more about the president's plan and its readiness to collaborate to ensure the survival of American farmers and ranchers. In collaboration with the Association of Gallatin Agricultural Irrigators, Montana Farm Bureau hosted a water rights educational meeting for local policymakers in the Gallatin County area. The event started with a steak lunch at the Land of Magic Steakhouse in Logan, where policymakers were provided with foundational knowledge on water law, administration, and ditch rights. They heard from Carly Johnson, Montana Farm Bureau's State Governmental Affairs Coordinator, George Alberta, the Gallatin County Water Commissioner and lifelong farmer and rancher, as well as multiple AGAI stakeholders. The event culminated with a field tour of the Mammoth Ditch to see irrigation water management in action. A just-launched National Women in Agriculture study is a comprehensive effort by the American Farm Bureau to capture women's voices from across all 50 states and Puerto Rico. The survey remains open through March 31st to gather insights from women working in production agriculture agribusiness, education, and advocacy, as well as from men and others in related fields who can offer perspectives on women's roles in agriculture. The aim of the study is to better understand the experiences, leadership pathways, and future needs of women in agriculture. This study will help identify what's working, where the gaps are, and how to strengthen engagement and support systems across agriculture. Optional follow-up interviews and focus groups will provide deeper exploration of leadership, mentorship, barriers, and opportunities. Anyone 18 and up is welcome to participate in the study at womeninagsurvey.com. The Montana Farm Bureau is currently accepting applications for the ACE, Advocate, Communicate, Educate, Premier Agricultural Leadership Program. This program is designed to empower Farm Bureau members to be confident, effective leaders in their county Farm Bureau and local communities. ACE participants will receive in-depth leadership development training along with practical application strategies. More than that, ACE participants will learn to identify the needs of their own communities and the role that they and Farm Bureau have in serving those needs. Without a vibrant, healthy grassroots foundation, we cannot profoundly affect change on the policy issues impacting agriculture. During this year-long program, participants will attend 6 in-person seminars focused on enhancing advocacy skills and leadership development. Class members will also participate in a Farm Bureau book club, reading from the Montana Farm Bureau history book, Legacies. Current ACE participant Andy Schwab said he applied for the ACE class to learn more about advocating for agriculture.
The education part was certainly something I wanted to focus on because it's one thing that where I live is in the biggest city of Montana, and so I just want to help get that word out there to communicate to those folks who might not understand the importance of agriculture and the how big it is in Montana.
For additional information, including the dates and locations of the 2026 seminars, and to apply, visit mfbf.org. Applications are due by December 8th, 2025. Now shifting to our members in the news section. Montana Farm Bureau President Cindy Johnson recently traveled to South Korea and Japan to join other Montana agriculture leaders, Director of Agriculture Jill Street, and Governor Gianforte on a trade mission to promote Montana commodities. Johnson, a grain farmer from Conrad, helped strengthen the relationship between Montana and its Asian trade partners, sharing first-hand information about how Montana grain is grown and how cattle are raised. She noted the value in observing how Montana grain is processed and used in the partner countries. Along with her advocacy on the trip, President Johnson was able to visit a marketplace bakery in Kumamoto, try traditional Southern Japanese cuisine, visit the Imperial Garden, and even watch a ship of Montana grain be unloaded. Reagan Nansel of Broman Shank Farms recently highlighted the Niles Club Calf shows and the opportunities for young kids to view high-quality genetics and purchase potential show calves on the Northern Ag Network. The Nile Merit Heifer program, which Reagan participated in, teaches participants about genetics, AI, feeding, and record keeping before they get to keep the donated heifer to start or enhance their own herd.
So the Nile has been going on for a couple days now. We have a lot of breeds here. I think Angus is coming in, but right now we're highlighting all of the club calves. And I'm here with my family, Broman Shank Farms, and we have couple steers, couple heifers, anywhere from early March to late April, and we're just here. We showed them yesterday. We did pretty good, and just kind of getting them on display for the kids who are looking to buy them today. I think the highlight of it is honestly getting these young kids out here and seeing what it's all about. Having these kids being able to come out and see these halter broke calves and what kind of the genetics look like, even just across the country. There's tons of different breeders here and a lot from the Montana area, and so it's just good for kids to come out and see kind of what there is for the crop this year and how their show calves can look in the next couple of years. A couple years ago, I got a heifer from the Midland Angus out in Joliet, and you apply for the program and you spend the whole year learning tons of different things. They walk you through classes on genetics, on AI, on feeding, on programs like that, on health. We bring in vets to come talk to us, and you basically keep this huge record book of all your things, which has honestly been so useful now. Like being able to have that introduction to record keeping is super useful now. And then at the end of the program, you bring them back here to the Nile in a couple of days and you show them off, and you compete against other Nile mare heifer programs. There's interviews, there's a professional part of it, and it's just a good development program for young kids to start getting their herd for free, because after the end of the program, you just get donated the heifer that you've been working with all year. And as somebody who's been out of it for a couple years, my Merit heifer has been doing amazing. I still have her. We've had a ton of bulls, a couple heifer calves, and she's really just helped bring different genetics into my line and my herd myself. So we love her.
Still hanging out at the Nile, over 1,200 fourth graders learn about agriculture at the event every year. Jody Drange with Yellowstone County Farm Bureau tells us about the importance of teaching kids about agriculture and helping them understand their surrounding community.
We can't really figure out when they originally started, but I've been here my daughter is 32 since before she was born.
Wow, well this is a great event, getting some of these fourth graders to see what agriculture is. For some of them, it's their first exposure to ag. For some, it might be the only time they get to see ag.
Oh yeah, especially over in the animals. The kids are like, I've never seen a pig, I've never seen a goat. They have no clue. And then you start telling them what all we get, like where we get the pig valves and some of that, and they're like, wow, they're more than just meat.
Well, and it's important that they get to see, but not only see, to touch it, to learn, get their hands a little dirty, get something smelly on their fingertips. It helps them be able to see what this really means.
Definitely. Well, even like when they get into the crops and do sugar beets, they talk about the sugar beet plant. That's the smell. That's why you smell it that way. And so, yeah, it makes them understand the community around them. Without us, there's no food, there's no clothing, there's no fuels. They need all of agriculture. So if we can just teach them a little bit to get them even thinking about it, and if they take it home, even better, to tell their parents, because they don't know either. Farm Bureau and the Extension Office and the Nile are working together to keep this fourth grade ag education program going. And we have an animal station, livestock, we have crops, we have weeds and soils, we have bees, range, and beef.
What's some of the questions you get from these kids? I mean, there's got to be some good ones every year.
Does chocolate milk come from a brown cow? Where does chicken nuggets come from? Sometimes they're, like, why did the goat have a horn? Or why is maybe they're the brand on the side of the cow? So we can explain to why the farmers do what we do and why we need to do what we do. It's so, so important. These kids just don't know. They say they're 3 generations removed from the farm. And they don't realize that farming is all around Billings, and most of our schools we have here are urban schools.
Dale and Janet Veseth have announced they will gift their 38,300-acre Veseth Cattle Company ranch to the Ranchers Stewardship Alliance, a rancher-led nonprofit Dale Veseth co-founded. The donation, valued at $21.6 million, is the largest recorded working ranch gift in Montana history. The decision is an act of conviction intended to ensure the ranch remains a working agricultural property and is not acquired by outside interests, thereby strengthening local ranching opportunities and upholding Montana's ranching heritage. The RSA will use the ranch to champion education, community-led conservation, and responsible grazing. The Veseths will continue to manage the operation throughout their lives, but their commitment guarantees a future where the legacy of collaboration with diverse conservation groups and dedication to sustainable stewardship is carried forward by the RSA. Finally, in our Members in the News today, Montana Farm Bureau Executive Vice President Scott Kolbeck recently advocated for farmers and ranchers amidst the government shutdown on KTVQ.
America's farmers and ranchers, we're facing an economic storm that we really haven't seen for years. Without those USDA county offices open, farmers are having a hard time getting access to important resources like disaster payments and loans. Those disaster payments bridge the gap, so to speak, when times are tough. We don't have a team of economists telling us when it's best to sell or what the market outlook is looking like. And we depend on a lot of those statistics that USDA puts together in those reports to make those economic decisions. We don't shut down when times are tough, and so we don't think that the government should shut down either.
All right, let's move on to our last section of upcoming events. An accounting program information session is coming up just around the corner with our brand new member benefit, Ambrook, also known as QuickBooks for Cowboys. Join us at the Richland County Extension Office at 6 p.m. on November 4th to learn all about the Ambrook platform and see if it's right for you. The platform is built specifically for agriculture operations, and the presentation will feature a live Q&A, demos, and practice files. Montana Farm Bureau members receive 15% off any Ambrook plan, plus through December 2025, our members are invited to join Ambrook's Farm Finance course and receive up to 6 months of Ambrook free of charge. Celebrate Ag Week at Montana State University is approaching quickly. We encourage you to come tailgate with us at the Ag Alley tailgates bordering Kagi Boulevard on the lawn next to the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse. Kickoff starts at 1 p.m. in Bobcat Stadium. You won't want to miss out on the fun. Keep an eye out in your email inbox for more information on where you can find Farm Bureau throughout Celebrate Ag Week. The Montana Farm Bureau Federation is set to host its 106th annual convention from November 17th through the 20th, 2025 at the Hilton Garden Inn in Missoula. This year's convention offers Montana's farmers and ranchers a critical opportunity to reconnect, gain market-leading insights, and shape the grassroots policy that guides the organization and influences state and national agriculture. Key highlights of the 2025 program include high-impact keynote speakers who will address the most pressing issues in modern agriculture. Firstly, Terry Moore, the Vice President of American Farm Bureau Federation Communications, will share strategies to demonstrate agriculture's role in the Make America Healthy Again movement. Jacob Shapiro, Director of Research at the Bespoke Group, will speak to geopolitics and the future of American agriculture, offering crucial context for trade and global markets. And finally, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine Marissa Hake, commonly known as Calf Vet on social media, will give a keynote address about finding balance in modern agriculture and bridging the gap between the farm and the dinner table. The event kicks off on Monday, November 17th with the graduation of the ACE leadership class and key meetings for the Women's Leadership and Promotion and Engagement Committees, followed by an evening social. Tuesday is dedicated to practical, profit-focused education with workshops covering advanced accounting for farmers and ranchers, exploring lucrative agritourism opportunities in Montana, mastering social media communication to effectively promote agricultural interests, and critical updates on current ag policy. Young farmers and ranchers aged 18 to 35 are highly encouraged to participate in the 2025-26 Farm Bureau discussion meet on Tuesday afternoon. This competitive, committee-style event challenges participants to exchange ideas and develop solutions on a predetermined agricultural topic. The winner will drive away with the keys to a brand new Polaris Ranger and a trip to the American Farm Bureau Convention discussion meet in Anaheim, California in January 2026. Wednesday marks the beginning of the crucial MFBF voting delegates session. This is where the true grassroots process takes center stage as members discuss, debate, and vote on resolutions that will become the organization's official policy for the upcoming year. The annual evening celebration, featuring a delicious dinner and live music by the Tanner Laws Band, will take place on Tuesday evening at the Missoula County Fairgrounds. Visit mfbf.org for more convention information and to register today. Also, don't forget to mark your calendars for the upcoming American Farm Bureau Convention in Anaheim, California, running from January 9th through the 14th, 2026. This is the go-to event to meet other farmers and agricultural leaders, grow and learn together, imagine a bright future, and be inspired to lead across the country. Tim Tebow is set to keynote at the event, and the proximity to Disneyland will make this one tough to miss. Register today at annualconvention.fb.org. And finally, get excited for our Montana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Leadership Conference. This is set to take place from January 23rd through the 25th at the Holiday Inn in Great Falls. Exciting keynotes and workshops featuring Flint Rasmussen, Coulter Brown, and others will make this an unforgettable weekend. The event also borders the Maggie Farm Show, increasing opportunities for our members to network and learn. Keep an eye out for more information as we approach that date. That marks the end of today's Field Notes episode. Thanks all you lovely members of the Farm Bureau family for tuning in today. I'll catch you in the next one.